anyway when you're here. There's no we talked through that. We talked about the potential of building on this lower field, but that is actually in the flood zone for Knowles Creek, and so it provides issues. And so anyway, the rest of it was just a really helpful conversation of like why all these conversations are hard.
And he's going to talk about that as well when he comes?
Yeah, that part of it I think we can have some questions for. I think some of it's just having that information as we continue to talk about what do we do with the old pool building, what do we do in our other spaces. I can be the, and the more we spread that information, be the like reality check for some ideas that are like, yeah, that's possible, and here are the constraints around it. So, yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of public input on
for sure. Space. Yeah, we'll have a presentation in a few minutes here about a visioning training that used the pool building as the topic, and then some excitement that generated from that training that we're hoping spreads out and continues those conversations.
Awesome. And that was a student.
Student and some community members. Yeah. So
okay.
A small group, but a really nice. Is Courtney in here? Courtney led that. We had representation from Saves Love Vision and United Way, and then Lions Club member and parent, and another parent, and number of kids in there, and really just a fun conversation, and bigger than a conversation. It was really talking about visioning process, collaborative process, and where do you go with this type of learning and information. And I think you'll see the kids are excited, and awesome. They'll share. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Sue on this?
Ooh, I can hear myself.
All right, district reports. We need the middle school and the high school report.
Yeah, and I just, because I'm on both campuses all the time, I just put it all into one. I know I should update that to match, but remind me if I get on that. Okay. Control window code or?
Yeah, Windows key.
Oh, is that me? Mm-hmm. Oh. Am I on? Oh. I'm all sitting there waiting for it. There we go. Okay. Just pull this one. Oop. There we go. All right, so just a couple things I wanted to share. This isn't the best labeled thing, and part of that is getting screenshots from the report. I wanted to show a bigger part of the report, but our we implemented a literacy screener, and it'll be a beginning of year, mid-year, and end of year screening for all students. It tells us how long they spend on it. I'd say between 20 and 40 minutes for most kids. The older they are, actually kind of that middle school age probably spends the longest on it. So I'd say it's kind of up and down there. In here, there's just a few things I want to point out. So if you can't
tell people what we're screening for.
Yeah. So with a literacy screener, this really is a snapshot of what's called a Lexile score. So it's kind of like, what grade level are you reading at? There are some embedded standards behind this that we can dig in and see a little bit more data. But this is really to say, are you reading at grade level? And kids, read a passage, answer a couple questions, and the screener works in a way that, depending on their answers, if they're getting it, it makes the next set harder, and if they're not, it gets a little easier, and so it's adapting. It's not that every kid's taking the same exam. Exam's the wrong word. Maybe hard to see from where you're at, but this repeats twice. I can reach this one, so I'll point, but it says far below grade level, approaching, on level, and above grade level. We get some nice graphs from these things, but this was the one I wanted to show. And what's cut off down there, this is all grade levels. We're testing 3rd through 12th grade. currently. And then this is 3rd and 4th grade and 5th and 6th grade, where we're really working hard implementing our new literacy curriculum. So some cool things I wanted to share specifically in, this side is beginning of year data, and this is the mid-year assessment that was taken a couple weeks ago. So the first one I wanted to show okay, I remember the last one, so I'm gonna jump down to here to 5th and 6th grade. If you, hopefully I have this right, hold on. I was just looking at this, let me figure it out. 39. What did I do? Did I scroll too far when I took the picture? I'm looking for the number, sorry.
Are you testing us?
I apparently testing myself here. Can I read? I might come back to this in a second. I had the exact thing I wanted to show you and the number is not, I think I might have screenshotted wrong. So I'm gonna jump into it here. I apologize. Hopefully this works.
You're gonna have a dress rehearsal.
Apparently, I had this a second ago and then totally lost the number here. 39, 14, 25. Okay, here it is. Is there a 44 there? And here we go. Okay, so that was what I was looking for. I just mixed them up. Okay, so in 3rd and 4th grade, here, you'll notice, so this 37.5% of kids were approaching in the grade level in the first test of the year. Our biggest growth with that grade level, you can see here, is from the approaching is now only 12%, and that huge shift into the on grade level. So from 37 and 20, and then even 8% here, we're seeing that shift from approaching. Where we're still needing to work is the far below and below are still pretty similar. We have the same number of kids in that area. When you dig into the data, they're growing though. So if you're far below, if I dig in, a lot of those kids aren't as far below. That's still not good enough for us. And what I was really excited about at that grade level is that kids who were getting near grade level were seeing that shift already by mid-year. And then there's grade level on that. Yeah, 3rd and 4th grade. And then with our 5th and 6th grade group, we're actually seeing that shift on the lower end. So these are the below grade level and far below and below. And we're seeing those were at 39% of students were below and far below. And that's less of in that section, and they're moving towards approaching. So we're closing those gaps through there. So it's exciting to have some data to match what we're seeing in classes. We don't use just this, but it's a nice big snapshot picture to see some of those trends that are working for us through there. So
is this a report we do just internally for ourselves?
It's totally internal, yeah. And then connected to that, any questions? Hopefully I didn't do a great job. So if you can see, the report isn't where I access it quickly with where I can see all of it is hard to screenshot and make it public. We turn all this into Excel spreadsheets and have sent it to teachers, and they're using that data to make teams. We're really using this more and more systematically.
This is a new reading curriculum this year, right?
So new reading curriculum, and this assessment is not aligned, like it's a separate assessment that could be used with any curriculum, but yes.
So it would be kind of interesting to see like this from the last reading curriculum to the new
So
reading
the
curriculum.
issue is we don't have it. So like we didn't have that system in place, and so for me it was, hey, beginning of year data, where are we at? And so getting that at the very beginning of the year, and how are we changing throughout the year?
I'm really glad you started capturing that.
And I'll say, like, in the past, Easy CBM and Dibbles were used, but at the younger grade levels, specifically not across all grade levels, and so this will give us a chance to really look across the whole K-12. At K-1, this doesn't make sense, even some of second grade. We're starting to test some of the second graders with the mid-year and seeing what their experience is and if it's appropriate for that grade level. At K2, we are using curriculum embedded measures that look at the foundational skills and those types of things. A lot of those are shared in common with Easy CBM, Dibbles type stuff. So the coolest thing in connection to this, sorry if I'm nerding out on data tonight, as part of the Gear Up grant, we received Oregon Data Suite access for free. And so we used to have access to this before I was in the district through Lane ESD. Lane ESD, like all the districts voted to like not spend their money on this anymore, and there's some various reasons. I won't anyway. I don't know that I agree with the going away from it, but collectively everybody did. A number of districts invested their money individually to keep it because they need this data, and we hadn't done that yet. But through the Gear Up grant, we get this for free. So we just got this set up. Literally, the data is not even all uploaded yet. They're building it. I got access like on Tuesday or Monday this week, and they're still building it out. But there's some dashboard things. I always try to talk about attendance. So this is like a page with historical data, and it just shows regular attender rates means the percentage of kids who come to school 90% or more of the time. And so this isn't saying each day there's only 57% of students here. It's saying 57% of our students come 90% of the time or more. And while that number is not as high as we want, we're working our tails off to get that higher. And this is actually last year's data for the year. It's up 18.7% from the year prior. So we're excited about that increase, and it's still not good enough. Inside of here, I think this is the one I wanted. The average daily, dashboards. Sorry, I'm still learning this thing. And I'm just gonna focus on data today, but I'll come back to the literacy in a second. But I did wanna show our average daily attendance throughout the school year. And this is at the elementary, is almost above 90% Thursdays. Kids aren't coming to school. If you have an elementary kid, please send them on Thursdays. And I can look through, at high school includes 7th through 12th. And similarly, oh, you know what? They must still be putting, that sure looks, well, either it's 89% on Thursdays at both levels, or we're still loading all this data to where it might be the full district. So I didn't check those first three numbers if they're different, but I am excited that average daily attendance is really close to above 90%, or actually it is above 90% and almost by day. But it's that regular attender rate. The kids who are missing, they're all taking turns missing. Mm-hmm. And so we still have about 35% of kids, 35 to 40, who are missing more than 10% of school days, and we want them here a lot.
So can this be compared to last year?
So that's what they're building in. So if you see on, let me see if I can remember where, I think it's on the attender. And then I can look at, so actually the kind of cool thing, so yeah, this is saying 60% of our kids overall, 61% are attending more than 90% of the time. I can dig into this and see, compare that over the last 30, 60, 90 days. And I will say last 30 days, we're down a little, like I can feel it on campus. And sometimes that's illness going through, there's lots of reasons. But hopefully we'll pop that back up soon with the sun coming out and cold season going away. And then I can dig into, like if I click this, I can actually get to the kid level really fast. I'm not doing that for you all. So, and then historical trends, this will get built out. Right now, it's only showing this year, but that's what, there's a ticket that they're building out all the years before that so that we can have those comparisons. So, so I'm only focusing on attendance to show you tonight, but then this will talk to that HMH where I don't have to go click through all those different grade levels and classes to compare, but it'll load by student and then include trends, and I can look at things like attendance versus literacy scores, those kind of things.
What's HMH?
That's the literacy assessment, sorry. That's the publisher for that assessment. And then the coolest part that I'm looking forward to is where it says custom assessments. We've been talking about a system for local performance assessments and really looking at learning and accountability for learning at a local, more localized level. And we'll be able to upload the local performance assessment results into here and have that over time for each of our kids and classes. So tons of capacity and capability in here, and right now it's all free.
So was that assessment sent to teachers and aides over at the, you said it was?
Yeah, the results from that,
results.
yeah, so we actually used it in the last PD day, which was the 22nd, 15th, I don't know, one of those Fridays, either last week or the week before, and that data was all put together and shared. I still have that in here. But have you seen that data?
What's that?
Have you seen that data?
Say it again.
Oh no,
sorry.
you have younger students, so she wouldn't have it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's been shared with aides yet,
Okay.
but it was the teachers that were there that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder if they agree with that, you know, what they're seeing, if
Oh,
they agree.
yeah,
with
so actually that was the conversation that this is a, right, this is a snapshot on that day of how kids perform on a quick assessment, and then we talked through kind of the same, kind of below level, on level, and above level. What are you seeing in terms of performance in the class? And so then we're using both of those sets of data to talk about next steps, both for improvement in our curriculum and implementation and the interventions that are needed for kids. So, but overall, I would say the teachers, especially at 3rd through 6th there, were seeing similar, they were feeling that impact and excited to see that it was captured. So, yeah. Okay, let me go back. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. Okay, so that's what I talked about. All that cool. Couple other. No, I don't want to share that. Sorry, wrong button. Google should really switch those two buttons. Okay, so we were just awarded an $82,000 grant for mental health services for us. It's going to be for next year, and this includes Hoots, which is an organization, or actually it's a program under Whitebird that serves schools across the county, and they've been really pushing resources out to rural communities, which has been great. It's different from our Peace Health partnership, where it's a mental health therapist with highest levels of qualification, and it's a bill for model. This is a medic and crisis worker, usually with a community healthcare qualification who work in a team and meet with students who, and they say crisis, right? Crisis can be from small crises to very large crises, and we experience the gamut of those within a week regularly. And so this will build our capacity to be meeting with students regularly who need ongoing connection and skills and a chance to connect and practice. And then, so that'll be 2 days a week all next year. And
Same person?
same team, same two people, yeah. So it's not
Yeah.
ideal.
Right,
So
I'm sure, within.
cross your fingers about hiring and all those things, but they've had success in having these teams and in this model and with hiring and those things, so. And then the second part of that is, as yet to be defined partnership with Courageous Kids, which is a grief support program organization. They run summer camps is their biggest thing, but they also do a lot of training and capacity building for running groups that are about grief and loss, and so supporting youth and families who have experienced the death of a loved one. And I've talked about before in our community, last year, I had the data last year, I haven't ran it, like I haven't looked at the numbers this year, but at middle school, high school last year, 28% of our students had experienced the loss of a caretaker, so not even just a loved one. And so the need for grief and loss counseling is high, and so I got in touch with we got her name, Amy Rose Wooten, and she was their organization just kind of, they were still active but not nearly as active post-pandemic, and she's been hired, she's from Douglas County, rural communities, totally committed to how to serve rural communities with grief and loss, and so I've been excited talking with her. We just got awarded this, and now the next step is to sit down and say, now there's real money, let's play.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So how much is that, like, how long is that real money?
So not very long, like 1 year. In all honesty, it's through April next year, which is a silly time frame for schools, but we're just gonna pay everything early, right? And we'll do it as a contract where we're allowed to do that. And so this gets us just through next year, but one of the things I like to do is look for short-term money that you patch together to get to long-term results, and so this is one step in that process. So,
Cool. That's really awesome news.
I'll share. I think I put it somewhere else. Yeah, I did, but I'll talk about it here at the same time. There's another grant out called Stronger Connections that is federal money for supporting actually a lot of different things, but mental health, like big umbrella, and we have significant asks in there for things, and that's the fund I'm really trying to think creative with to shift staffing in ways that continue to grow capacity to do all the different things we do. Right now, we're doing all the things, but we're spread thin, and so everybody cross your fingers and hope that. I think I was supposed to hear on Friday. We were all talking at our superintendent council meeting yesterday, like, when are we supposed to hear on this? And so we're all sitting around waiting to hear. But that money, one of the things in it, I'm not going to go through all of it. Actually, I'll share two things. One of them is money for a full-time mental health therapist, so that with Peace Health we shift our model. So for those who don't know, right now we have with Peace Health we have 2 mental health therapists 1 day a week, and so however many, it's like 12 to 14 kids total, and our wait list is way bigger than that. And so and we don't get to, we as in administration staff don't get to build relationships with the providers because they're here 1 day a week and they're in their office working with kids the whole time. And so what I'm working with Peace Health on, if we can get this money to start, is to say, hey, let's just get one who is a Mapleton mental health therapist, still through Peace Health, we can bill for, do all these things. But now they don't have to be working with kids nonstop to make the money. We have some to support that, and they can work with our staff and even these Hoots teams to build capacity to really understand who needs supports, who doesn't, in terms of like who can be addressed through a crisis and medic team with regular check-ins, and who needs that more trained. Qualified mental health therapist. So the other one is some money for equipment for the weight room and musical instrument like stuff. So there's like probably 4 other things in there, but those are ones that I thought you guys would be excited about. So
No, not at all.
no, yeah. Mary doesn't want music. I'll call him back. In terms of like what's going on campus, this is spring. This is like where we've been waiting for winter to end so we can drive the bus everywhere. I'll get to filters in a second, but who went to the talent show last night? Anybody? Yeah, awesome. Like, shout out to everybody at elementary who puts effort into making that happen, kids, families, staff, and a special shout out, Clara Smith really is the project manager and facilitator of that, and it was awesome. So
Was it recorded?
Well, how many of you held your phone up? I don't think we have I actually don't know, I'll ask, but I don't recall like a single recording of the whole thing.
I think one parent has the full recording.
There we go.
Oh,
I will
okay.
get into, let's talk and I'll figure out who that parent is and
Yeah.
we'll chase it down, so, yeah. And then I had a parent who went to film his kid, and I was right behind him taking pictures, and he's like, did you get that? My camera, but I just did still pictures, and I was like, no, but I have you taking a picture looking like you're filming it. Is that helpful? And I texted to him. So, the community visioning training, I'm gonna get you guys up here in a second to share field trips. There was I said college, but what I actually mean there is career fairs. Last Friday, we took a handful of kids to Sayusla for a career fair. Today, we took 22 students, something like that, to Elmira for a large career fair. And at those, sometimes it's looking for current employment, sometimes it's learning about opportunities that exist in the future.
What's
And
Athos?
then, say it again.
Athos? Did you say Athos?
No, at those.
Oh,
I just talked
Athos.
fast.
I thought it was
Yeah.
another acronym.
Nope, not this time.
Okay.
And then also a lot of organizations who support students. So like Connected Lane County, I was talking to a student today, and he said, I really like the programs that were being, or Connected Lane County, they had this, I want to go check out their like programming. And anyway, it was cool to like, and to know what was being talked about. I was like, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Do you want me to call and set you up with, yeah, can we go out there? And so it was really cool to like see how these things are coming together. We do have conferences in April at 7th through 12th, that's student-led conferences, and they're working on their presentations currently in their success classes. And then we're about to finalize, we're just nailing down the dates for May for Artist in Residence, second year of that. This one's on like glass work, so like I don't know the right name for that, but melding glass into pretty things. And then
How long have we been having student-led conferences?
this year.
Just
So we
this
did it
year.
in the fall. This will be the second round of it.
I'm so happy to hear this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, thank you. And then with the Artist in Residence, that's through Lane Arts Council, and they're a partner in our new after school and Friday school programming, which is for 1st through 6th graders. And every Friday there's an artist out here doing like a long workshop session with students rooted in the arts. And so there's kind of a calendar of different artists who are coming for a series of workshops. So pretty exciting. So,
Cool.
I talked about some of this, but one of the questions that's come up through the board, website update. That level of technical work is a summer project, not a during the year project. So that'll come this summer. But right now, Courtney and some students, or staff and students, are working on showcasing our project-based learning courses, which are, I say these all the time, I should get them. Culinary, gardening, business, electronics, recycling and sustainability, construction, and media type work, and have some great ideas about how that can live on our website. So we'll do like a production of that, and then that'll be part of what merges into website stuff. Lots of grants coming up. And state testing, I just wanted to give an update. That'll be May windows for an end of year state level testing. We are an opt-in district. And as part of that, we'll call home to every family to explain what the test is and give the option to opt in or not. And that process will start soon. So happy to answer any questions on that. And then this is the grant I was speaking about. So, Courtney, who's back there? Knox. Do you want to come up and they're gonna give an update on that community visioning piece, so.
Hey everybody, I am Courtney Stone. I'm our Upriver Vision Coordinator for the district that just started in September. I'm going to talk a little bit about what my intentions were with the training and then pass it off to Knox to tell you about what happened. But we put together this vision training, kind of like Sue talked about, to give the students a practical opportunity to look at what it would mean to follow a long-term project on the school grounds through the course of planning and implementation, and doing that with community support. So the training on Friday kind of, got a small group of people to talk about some of those ideas, and Knox is going to talk a little bit about what we did then.
Okay, I'm Knox Allen. I'm the 9th grade representative in the student council, and I was invited to the vision for brainstorming ideas and stuff. So at the start of the vision, Students Love Vision came in and talked about who they are and how they can help us with the project we wanted to do. And we also, and then after that, everyone in the room brainstormed ideas and just basically shout out ideas. We wrote it all down. It was a big wall. And then after that, most of the community members had to leave because they had small children, so it was just the students left. And then after that, the students prioritized their favorite ideas and what they thought was actually achievable, because there was a couple of non-achievable ones out there, not going to be honest. And then the prioritized ideas that we thought were the best and we favorited was student housing, something with a rock wall, pump track, and then ping pong, like a ping pong table just somewhere, an indoor gardening space, and a maker space. We also have champions. So basically what that is students who wanted to represent that idea. Just talk about it and basically know all about that. So all ideas get equal knowledge and stuff. We also brainstormed about our top 3 criteria for the projects. Our top 3 things was achievable within 5 to 7 years, open to the public, and the community supports it.
Will you explain the champion again? I didn't.
Yeah, so basically, there was 5 students there, and we all chose a specific idea that we wanted to represent. I'm representing the pump track idea. So it's just so each idea gets a student or 2 if there's a really big idea.
I got you. Okay, cool.
And their next steps will be to really take some time to identify what sorts of things, what does that look like? If you want that, what would that mean? and then to reach out to community members to find some community champions as well. So the ideal is that the students are leading a project and asking for support from the community about how to get that implemented. It's going to be a long process, and we acknowledge this is not a quick thing, but the intention is that the students are leading that process over time to kind of develop projects that are actually things that we can implement on campus. And it was beautiful to see that we started by talking about the pool, but throughout that process, ideas popped up that don't necessarily have to live in the pool, in the building, but that could happen in other places on campus and that are already being talked about. So I didn't tell the kids that they brought up the idea of a makerspace. That wasn't something that we suggested, but that's something we'd already been talking about behind the scenes of like, oh, that would be a cool thing. So ideally, we're seeing some of those ideas float to the top that have both community support and student support, and being able to link those together over time. And we do have support from Science Vision, United Way, and a lot of those other larger community partners to actually move forward on some of that planning. So again, this is the very beginning meeting. We're just trying to kind of get some of the energy up and find some of those students that really care about community investment and engagement on the campus.
There was one more set of ideas included like how to engage community, and so everything from surveys to going to pancake breakfast to hosting visioning events. I can't remember all of them, but they had generated a whole list of those, and so personally I'm excited. It was cool to watch the different ways the people in the room thought about future. So like some people went all in on a drawing of everything that could fit in that building, and some people were like having a conversation about something and then would overhear something and be like, oh, well, what if? And then it'd kind of bounce and spark that brainstorming that got a lot of fun energy in the room. And so I look forward to kids leading that process with community to generate what's possible, not only in that building, but on our campus. So.
For those of you who are going to be champions, are you also looking at budget and funding for those too? Yeah.
This was just the first meeting, so we didn't really talk
Right,
too much about
right.
that, but we're going to.
Well, you don't have a full itemized budget for all of these projects?
I've been doing this with my
Yeah.
And what grades, what age range students were in this
It was, I think,
collaboration?
the lowest one, well, there was a couple like little kids there, but they weren't really doing nothing.
Yeah.
There was an 8th grader, I think was the youngest.
7
7th, 8th.
There was a 7th
We might
grader? Okay,
have
there was a
every-
7th grader and,
up to 11.
yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
And it was, we acknowledge, like, sorry, 11th graders, you may not see these ideas come into
Yeah.
play. And that said, at least being on the beginning part, I mean, my vision, I don't really care what happens on the grounds, but I want the kids to come back with their kids someday and be like, that's my thing. Like, that would be a project that I worked on. So we'll see what pops out of the ground from their brains, but yeah, getting started.
It's the same with board members. Oftentimes we have ideas and we get to be the seed of the idea, and then we move on, and then someone else takes the place and actually gets to see the fruits of this person's labor. That's life, and it seems like a really cool thing that you kids are doing. I mean, for your experience, did you feel like you're being heard and it's inspiring and it's fun to you?
Yeah, it was really fun. I was sitting at the table where most of the kids was at, so we were talking and bouncing our ideas off each other. And even if I wasn't speaking my ideas, someone else on the table was. And I was okay with that because I didn't really want to speak, but my idea was heard.
Excellent, wow.
And that's I acknowledge that will be an interesting balance over time as community members get involved to ensure that community members are trained on how to support students in their leading processes.
And is this is students and community members, it's not student, staff, board, it's just students and community members?
Well, I think more in the long term, we would love everybody, yes.
Collective community.
Yeah, broad community, yeah, board members, parents, ultimately anybody that feels like they have an idea that would benefit the campus and community. We can find a spot for them.
All right, so great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Just because at least one person is in the room that this connects to, but the the trophy. I did, so at introduction, it was like connections to the pool, and it was really cool to hear kids talk about their parents and their boxes of trophies. And so at some point, it came up to like, I don't care what it is, but we need some sort of trophy case where people can come take the ones in boxes and have them there to hold that legacy. And then I think it was Dom was like, hey, what about Hollywood Squares where there's steps up to it and it's encased in the ground and it was like, I just like that kind of thinking where it's anything goes at the beginning and you start to connect those ideas. So if you have a box of trophies from the swimming pool, raise your hand. There we go. There we go. Yeah. All right. I have one more presenter, Ramil. You want to come up and give a little bit of an update?
So staying in the same spot they did. So track started 3 weeks ago. We had our high school had their first meet last week in Reedsport, which went really well. There's a lot more teams there than we thought. There ended up being 16 and 18 teams. Can't remember exactly.
What?
So we didn't end up leaving till 10:30 because 4x4 is the last event, and so it was a tiring first meet, but it was definitely a fun first meet. Everyone had fun, and we did pretty good. And then middle school is having their first meet today, which happened to be a home meet, and then high school will have their first home meet tomorrow. I wasn't able to get a list on like how many kids are on each team, but there's a way bigger turnout this year for high school than last year, and then middle school had a big team last year and has a big team this year. So then we got I have it written down. The student council, also I'm vice president on student council and Ramil Beers. And so we have student council started talking about prom because prom is the last dance of the year, and some of the seniors this year are like, we want to go all out. So we're starting to plan it a lot earlier than when we normally start planning dances. So we've kind of been laying down some groundwork. We're gonna get some fundraisers going, which we haven't planned fully out yet, but they're definitely getting there. And then we plan on doing a masquerade theme, and then and it's gonna be on May 4th. So could have some fun ideas there. And then it's gonna be at the Lions Club as of now. And so we have some. That's kind of started and going, and then obviously next week spring break, so we're gonna take a break from that, and then when we come back, we're actually really gonna kick things in full gear. Same with other PBLs and stuff. A lot of PBLs are kind of slowing down this week, and then really picking things up after spring break.
And what's a PBL?
The project-based learnings, the 7th period, construction, all those classes. On top of PBLs, I was able to get a report from every PBL class, but I'm part of gardening, so I can kind of do a mini report on that one. It's kind of starting to get nicer. It was a little nice at the beginning of the week. Now it's kind of back to gloomy, Oregon. But next week is spring break, which is kind of unfortunate time because that's when we'd be doing all our planting. Was next week, because now that the weather's starting to get a little nicer, we're like, okay, we're gonna do all our planting this week. Oh wait, that's spring break. And so we're getting like a small team, and then Courtney and Tucker will be leading it, like coming in, make sure we water things and all that, and then get like a small team and kind of get a list, kind of get a schedule going of who's gonna come in to help too. And we've got quite a few plants, we've got a lot of starts. And the greenhouse is full of starts, all sorts of different. We got some garlic, tomatoes, peppers, things like that. And then in the gardening room, we have more peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, a whole bunch of different plants, lots of lettuces. And so we're really going to start getting those outside and kind of transplanted. And then we've also started talking about getting a bigger greenhouse with a watershed council. And then one of my favorite parts is that we've started getting native plants going. We have some camas growing, like traditional plants for foods. and a couple other plants that kind of were thrown in there too. And so yeah, gardening's been going really well. And all the other PBLs, I've heard some really good things. Construction, or I'm going to talk about electronics, got done with their 3D printing unit, and they're printing some really cool things, and kind of started soldering some circuit boards together and things like that. Construction, they completely cleaned the shop out there, and it looks amazing now, and started doing some like laser cutting for metal pieces, and it's really cool. Business, they started like making t-shirts and things like that to like sell, and then also for the teachers, because we're making some pretty cool t-shirts. Let's see, what else is there? There's culinary's been cooking and wants something cool that they've been doing all sorts of projects, and then every once in a while when they're like, hey, we have some extras, I'm always the first one to get offered some, which I'm happy about. And we kind of been starting to tie in gardening and culinary and stuff together, because we grow a lot of lettuces all year round, so we're able to kind of give them some lettuce and like spices like basil and cilantro and things like that. What else is there? Sustainability, the recycling program. We have you've probably seen them around the halls and stuff, the blue bins for like bottles. That got started a couple weeks or a month ago now. And that's been helping a lot, instead of just throwing all the bottles away or putting them in the recycling bin and then them getting thrown away instead of recycled. Now we have an actual set place to recycle cans and bottles, and also just getting recycling taken care of.
The recycling goes into the blue bags, so the bottle drop, and the blue bags are tagged with money that goes to the youth sports program. And so it's really awesome, because like all the bottles, all that bottle money ends up going back to the kids. So I think there was like the last bottle drop, like the full, sort of the transfer of money that came out of it might have been like about $500. So
For sports?
yeah,
Oh,
for like
sweet.
the youth, for the elementary sports stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have the like kind of media class. They've kind of been doing stuff with the yearbook, things like that. They've been doing they started like at the end of basketball season, so we have lots of good basketball photos now at the end of the season. They go around on field trips too, and so they make sure to bring a camera, and so we're getting some really good images of students and stuff at schools. Let's see here. What else is there? Is that all of them? So yeah, PBLs have been going really good, and students seem really happy with them. And so, they're really fun, and I think the next step we're going for is kind of getting them all intertwined to kind of start, like, gardening needs a fence, so maybe construction can help us make a fence. And then gardening can give food to culinary, and then business can help culinary sell food or help us sell starts, and like, kind of tie these all in together. And then electronics kind of helping us, like, we're tying everything together. So that's my student report for this month. I do gotta go because I gotta go back up to track meet and help out there. And so, yeah, thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
And just numbers, I think, are, at least what I heard on paper, I don't know that they're exactly this, but I think 17 athletes out for track, and about 30 for middle school track, 17 for high school, around 30 for middle school. So we're keeping.
Wow, those are good numbers.
Yeah, like 2 years ago at high school, I think it was 3.
Yeah.
It was 3. So we're all of our programs are building, and we've been really working on taking a program approach to every sport. So.
Yeah, and also that's really kudos to the coaches.
Absolutely.
Who are the coaches?
For track, for middle school is Tucker Ford, we're in his classroom, and Kalea Galbraith or Ford? Oh. Yeah, Kalea Galbraith. And then high school is Jessica Kroll, and she's an off-campus coach, lives in the community, has a background in physical therapy and physical training, has young kid, kind of newer, and
The important thing to mention is her young kid's name is Sailor, so it belongs right here.
she didn't even live in Mapleton when she named her kid Sailor, so if that doesn't tell you anything. She's also expecting, and I told her maybe otter, but she said maybe salty. So
And this is Jessica's second year coaching.
yes, yep, her second season.
Second season, yeah.
And both sets of coaches are great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to sneak up there for a few minutes to see some of the middle school. And so, all right, we are done reporting. That was a lot, but hopefully
Yeah,
that
you're
was
done
cool.
with the elementary? Everything's-
Embedded in, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Finance tech maintenance report, documentation. What do you have for us, Karen? Highlights?
A little bit of money at Amazon and B&H Photo, those are iPads and stuff for the graphic arts, and money from Gear Up. We had, our Gear Up grant started last year, but we didn't do anything last year, so we're spending that money this year on stuff to get the program going.
We're not in Garrett's, usually we're in Garrett Blanchard's room, so we don't see it tonight, but lots of new technology for publications. Similarly, there's just pretty big investment in technology to support all the different project types that you're hearing. So.
Audio visual stuff and tech stuff for Stephanie over doing graphic arts stuff. Lots of stuff.
Lots of good stuff.
There's another one that I don't know what the Lowe's bill. We bought a new stove for back there because the other one was dying, so we got a new stove for culinary. State school fund estimates came out. I haven't had a chance to look at them. They're very preliminary, and updated ones came out today, but I haven't looked at them. But there's only so much money, so I figure we'll have some money that's expected.
Can I jump in on that? I did not share this, we just found this out yesterday, but there were 50 districts in the state awarded summer school money, and
yes, we're one of them.
most people are pissed at us because we're one of them. So we were awarded $32,000 for summer learning. I'm still looking through the requirements for getting that money, number of hours, those types of things, and we'll by early next week I'll have a plan for summer and dates and those kind of things. There's enough requirements that it can't just be like, oh, we got money now, let's pick where we land. I need to go through kind of line by line of what's expected.
Yeah, there's a webinar on it tomorrow that I'm attending to see, what it sounds like. There was a webinar also 2 weeks ago that I attended talking about unemployment. Bill went in and there's unemployment changes, and it could affect us. Some districts are anticipating lots of money, and legislator didn't give us more money for it. So.
Another unfunded mandate?
Yeah. And they didn't give unemployment department any more money to handle additional.
It's a legislative switch about how you can qualify for unemployment, and it impacts schools big time. So
so state school fund budget. Since Michelle mentioned budget last time, budget's coming up. You can see on the discussion items I reached out to I emailed the ones that were on last year. I've heard from two of them. Well, I've heard from three. Two are yes. One's not available. So.
Did you hear from Will?
Haven't heard from Will.
He's a yes.
He's a yes. Okay. So I saw him a few weeks ago. Just passing. So. Other money or text. Had a Lane County Business Officers meeting the other day, and the big topic was unemployment and budget. I had met her, the new business director for LASD and stuff. And that's,
That's it.
yeah, that's.
Okay.
Unless there's any questions.
I think I mentioned this, but I just wanna shout out Jaron, like, he's stepping in to do some driving for us, some short-term
right.
driving, and, not very many people can pull off, being the tech person, the payroll, the budget manager, and HR person, and webmaster, like, while they're driving 2 hours. No, how many total? So anyway, to Corvallis and back every day, and it's a short-term need, and I don't know if it was the best way to fill it, but Jaron made it the best way to fill it, so.
Thanks, Jan. How much longer are you doing that?
Till they say that they're done.
Yeah, I think, we think about 4 to 5 weeks. It's
4 to
not
5
a,
more weeks.
it's not a
We're,
definite end date, so it's a hard.
yeah,
Okay.
they say typical is 6 to 8 weeks, so we're in week 5 right now. So.
Okay. Yeah, well, thanks for keeping it all together, keeping all those balls in the air.
Yeah, it gave me an excuse to find a remote access thing, so.
Right?
Like I had to showcase something today and I was like, yeah, just go in my office, it's on the computer under my window and stuff, and then I could just show it off. Since I can just access it from my laptop sitting in the back of the van.
I thought you did that at like 3 o'clock this morning.
I can remote access my work computer and do my work for me, that'd be great.
Add that to the list.
Not enough on the plate.
I have space for one more computer that I can add on to my free
Hey,
subscription.
all right.
Okay, any other questions for Jaron? Let's move on to our action items, the ESD service plan.
Oh, consent agenda?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, I just
Skip that.
skipped that.
Skip what we can.
Thank you for keeping me honest here. All right, consent agenda, the payroll, check register, accounts payable, check register, and prior month's minutes. I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve 7.1, 2, and 3.
Second. Moved and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, thank you very much. Now, let's go into the action items and the service plan. Sue, you wanna, anything else to be said? And we had the presentation last month. Any questions from the board about the service plan? Are we ready to vote it through or vote on it?
I'll share one thing in conversations following. There was a question about supports for training, increased supports, and if it's in the plan for specific trainings. And the one we talked about was MANT training and or related trainings. I was on the phone with them today. We had reached out prior. They didn't have any scheduled trainings. I reached out again and said, so how creative can you get when there are no trainings? And we're expecting, so they're following 2 routes, and we're expecting to be able to have a trainer out for us this spring. It's not set, but without the ESD, it's not an opportunity at all this year. What we're looking at is one of the certified trainers is assigned to another school district, and that we release their time, pay for that release for them to come over and do training with us. And so
And the training is for what?
the MANT. Don't ask me what MANT stands for. I don't know if anybody knows that answer. Like, it's just one of those
What
things.
is the training for?
That is for de-escalation and restraint training for students who are in crisis. And
Okay.
so that's a very specific example of the types of trainings we talked about, but it is included in the. I don't know if you look through. I don't know if it's a line item in the service plan, but it is part of the types of services that we're able to receive from the ESD. So
Just because I talked to Sue about this Lane ESD, and I had said, just like, I would think that more training for EAs and people over at the elementary, as far as I have heard, would like the training, so I wanted to see if they could encourage Lane ESD to increase their training, so.
Excellent, thanks. Okay, do I get a motion from somebody here?
Move that we approve 8.1.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you very much. Budget calendar.
Personnel.
Oh, I'm sorry. God.
Oh, no, skip that one, keep going.
Yeah, right.
No, do it because I had to hound her to get her thing, so.
That's right, we don't want Joyce to resign.
Yes, so
Right.
this is for it says resignation, it's a retirement. And I saw Joyce in the hallway today and said, it's on the agenda tonight and I hope they vote no. And Joyce keeps this place moving, and has for a long time. And I think even this morning, post talent show, cute story, I got a email from a teacher at like 2:30 in the morning that says, I can't sleep. I think one person's gonna get stuck putting the chairs away from the talent show last night. Can we have everybody meet there? And it was just like, it was cute that like she should go to sleep and like was worried about it. So then I sent out the email to say, hey, let's meet at 7:30 and we can do that. And Joyce was already doing it at 6:30 this morning and taking care of it. And that's just like, she knows everything that's happening. She's a step ahead of everybody. When you are working on something, she's the one standing there like, so did this happen? And you're like, it's going to. And you run off and go do it. So kudos to Joy. I don't know what else to say. There's not enough words to say about it.
Just that she also is just a wonderful person for support for students.
Absolutely.
Always interacting with students and checking in and stuff. It's really cool.
Supporting their fundraisers, would you like to buy a camp? She's like, sign me up for one. She's so supportive.
Serves lunch for us at the high school as well, and just everything about her is awesome. So,
Jen, do you have her start date? How many years has she been here? I mean, she really is a fixture, we count on her. We count on her.
And then
Aren't seeing anything.
when Randy took over,
Right?
it's been around forever.
she takes her breaks down here. I hope she still comes and sits there every day. I'm not gonna know what to do without her.
Give her a letter.
What?
Give her a letter. That'd be a cool.
To do what?
Do like a.
Like a big
Give her a person.
That is a good idea.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
that is a great idea.
She'll be hired in 2000.
2000, 24 years.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, irreplaceable for sure. But I think she knows what she wants, so do I have a motion?
To approve 8.2, Joyce's retirement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Reluctantly, let's all vote. We unanimously, reluctantly accept her resignation. I'm sure there will be some kind of a retirement party or something going on that we'll plan, so we'll let people know.
And it's effective end of year, is that right?
End of year. She is not retiring tomorrow.
Right.
This is for the end of the year. Yes. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Joyce gets all these phone calls tonight that
Yeah,
she.
like.
You have to do it.
Right. All right, now the budget calendar.
Right, yes, okay.
You want to speak to the budget calendar?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Budget calendar, you want to do that?
It's
I didn't even see
typical.
it in here.
Might not have had it on there.
Yeah, I didn't see it in there.
Did I-
It's not, it's not in our packet.
It's on the one I sent. I just had to pronounce this.
Right, it's right.
Right, which version?
Which, I didn't get a
Yeah.
couple options.
The choices
Well,
of,
that was
okay,
quite
there
a
you go.
lengthy.
Yeah.
I Joyce and
Oh, yeah.
Like I just ripped off a piece of paper.
As Jared chased her down the hall.
At least it
Okay,
wasn't on
budget calendar approved, that's tonight. Then our first presentation is May 8th.
Yeah, but I like how then we go back to.
May 1st,
Yeah, what are we doing here with 8th?
because the notices.
Yes.
You go back
The
about
notices.
earlier.
So May 8th will be our Budget 101 presentation, just, going over what the budget is and stuff. So, not a required, anyone that wants to attend. And then, need to submit notices for the meetings, for the first real meeting on those
Right,
dates. So May 15th will be the regular board meeting. And so that'll be the first budget committee meeting, and if we need to have the second one, do it a week later.
okay. Does anybody have any problem with this? Because it looks like it's pretty organized for us.
Good to me.
Okay, this is an action item, so I need a
Yeah.
motion.
I move to approve 8.3.
Second.
Moved and seconded, no discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous, thanks.
Andrea and Abby.
And we do have, it looks like we will have likely, an availability for an extra budget committee member. I sure see a lot of potential budget committee members out here. So
So
if
this was
you're,
free meant to Jared, and it's on the discussion part later,
oh,
so
okay.
we can nag twice,
We'll
do it now
we'll
and
get
then.
back to that, yes, be thinking about it, and we'll get back to that. OSBA policy review.
Yeah, so that one is the one I brought up last, meeting, and then I think I emailed you all the, different proposals. My recommendation is the policy analysis, which is 3,600, and, if we went into a review stage, which I don't expect, but, if we did, some of that money goes into there, so. I wanted it to be a board decision of, do we wanna do that? And, I think it needs to be a board decision.
Yeah.
And, I don't have anything else to add to that.
Is there a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation?
Yeah, so I move that we approve 8.4 to engage OSBA for a policy review.
At the level.
Yeah, at the level is recommended, so I don't know what to call it, the $3,600 level?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, but
Policy
review.
analysis.
Policy analysis, okay.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Okay, we're gonna have to do this. All those in favor?
It's so fun.
So much fun.
Exciting.
Yeah, exciting.
Thank you all.
Unanimous.
I know it's not
It did
ideal,
pass.
and
It's good. It turns out it is a
It'll
big
be
part of our
helpful.
job, I guess.
It is part of the job. Sometimes it's even interesting, and we get some, but
Good.
just steel yourself, because it's not all fun.
Yes, all right.
I
You
don't
love
know.
it, Abby.
I'm not used to having an audience. I don't know if, what that is our policy manual that's online, and you can see it from the district. We update it regularly as laws and requirements and recommendations change.
And when she goes like this, that's because really it is a book like this.
It's all printed off.
And, I've never seen the printed version. I just type in the topic
I
I'm
saw
looking
it in
for.
Jody's office. It's like three big 3-inch binders. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
huge.
of policy.
Yeah, and what OSBA will do is go through our current policy and say if we're in compliance isn't the exact word I'm looking for, but recommend a change. Take a look at this one. This is out of compliance with legal matters, those types of things, and give us a spreadsheet for every single one that then we can work through and say, hey, these ones that were out of compliance with law, we need to take a look at first, and then work through the highly recommended, the recommended, those types of things. So not a fun process and a really important one. I don't even remember what brought this up, but there was some policy that I'm totally blanking on what it is, but documentation and plans that we've written and submitted are different than what's in policy, and so at some point you get out of matching there and you don't know what you're following, and so it's a chance to just clean all that language up and make sure we all know what policies we're holding.
And OSBA makes recommendations to us, and then we have the reign to change, make it applicable to Mapleton. Jody's friend Sue. Sue.
I like Jody, we're good.
The last
Call
time
me
we
Jody.
did policy was with Jody. So Sue is going to be able to help us navigate what makes sense for us here. And it's really, it's from everything you can imagine, how we take care of sick kids and how, what happens when a school bus is decommissioned. There's just everything that goes on in this district is in these books, which are now online, thank God. Important stuff though, yeah. So, I think we have,
One more.
yeah, we have the Siuslaw Football Co-op is our last action item.
Yeah, so this one isn't great news, I just want to preface, and I think it's a good resolution to our needs. So this season football, we weren't able to have enough students to have a team, and we didn't have a season, but we had players who missed out on playing for a year who are very committed football athletes, right? And so we've been trying to be very proactive to talk with kids, work with kids, and figure out, do we have enough student athletes for football next season? And we don't feel confident that we can have a full team and full season next year. And so in recognizing, we didn't want to admit it for a while, we've waited as long as we can, and in recognizing that, we've pursued a lot of different options. Those options include a co-op with Grow Applegate Lorraine to see if we could have like a joint team, because they sometimes struggle to have a full team as well. The logistics of that, and like, even us being able to host enough games, they would have more kids than us, and so we lose in that power struggle. And actually, when we put the numbers together, it puts us to 11-man football instead of, not 11, 8, I don't know, more kids on the field than 6. And Pro wasn't interested in that part, and so that didn't make sense. We talked about not having a team. We talked about, are there other fall sports to get kids engaged in? Didn't land on anything really appealing to students. And then this spring, we're doing a co-op with Siuslaw for baseball, and we have 2 student athletes who are playing baseball over at Siuslaw, and it's going well. And so our proposal is, we called them and said, how about a football co-op where our students who are most committed to playing competitive football have an opportunity to play 11-man at Siuslaw, and it'd be in a co-op, it's Siuslaw Mapleton team, and then here where students, our students who go out for a sport but aren't like, yay football, it's more the being involved. We've been talking to coaches about really investing in the middle school program, but making available for high schoolers to come lead and those practices and be part of the development of the middle school team. And so we're looking at 3 coaches. We're talking right now with that. I mean, we gotta say yes to this first, but we've been having these conversations to really invest in building up the middle schoolers so that when they get to high school, they have a lot of experience. They've been playing with the other kids who would be at the older age to be able to join them. And likely it's a 2-year process to really get, next year we might have enough kids, but they'll be young and maybe not excited to get be pummeled, that's a good word, thank you. And so maybe I think we've gone back and forth, and I'll leave this for you all to decide. But we've asked Sayusla for a 2-year co-op and they've agreed there, so. It's already been approved by their board meeting was before ours, and so, that's the current, proposal for football for next year.
So that's a commitment of 2 years, or if something
Did you find out if something changed?
You know what, I should have. I believe you can approve for 2 years, but it's not a commitment. And I'm confident that if we told Sayusla, actually we figured it out, we're gonna run our own this year, it's not gonna be enough kids where they're like, no, we're dependent on your kids, so.
And OSA isn't
They're
gonna
not
hold
gonna-
you to anything,
No,
right?
yeah, so, yeah, it would probably need a board vote to come back in and say,
Yeah.
we're ending that co-op, but, I'm confident that it's not a lock-in for 2 years.
So then we would have a co-op for soccer, for baseball, and for football with Sayusla.
Yeah.
And then Elmira was also.
Softball with Elmira.
Yeah.
Okay. I pointed at you because it's
It's okay.
Morgan. I'm just like, Andrew goes and plays softball.
I was
with
just
Elmira.
there, it's all right.
Yeah, and just so, I don't know if everybody heard that, but we have, right now, one student who plays, soccer in a Sayusla Mapleton co-op. We have 2 students playing baseball that I mentioned. Now this would be football, and then we have 1 student who plays softball in a co-op with, Elmira, I always want to say Fernbridge, with Elmira High School. So, and you can co-op by sport and team, and so it's a chance for 1A schools to really be creative in providing the best opportunities for our athletes.
Okay, so I need a motion on the Sayusla football co-op.
I move to approve this Sayusla football co-op.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous, thanks very much.
And I told Carrie I would text her at this part of the meeting, so that she can, she wants to sign it.
Right. Okay, discussion items, we have the budget committee. Which of you decided you're definitely on it? Think about it, if you are interested, you contact our business manager, Jaren, and we'll get you hooked up, and you saw the calendar, so I think what was it, March 8th is the first meeting?
May.
I'm sorry, May, March 8th.
Yeah.
May 8th, and there is that School Budget 101 exciting presentation. There are things to know for sure, but if you're interested, we really encourage community support. It's a good way to be involved in the school. Okay, the OSBA training.
I got a response, finally. So I went through the policy people and they attached me to the board training people, and they did have this open here. So they sent a set of flyers and descriptions about the board training sessions that they provide. I actually during this meeting emailed it to you guys, that we don't have to spend a long time talking about what each part is. My biggest question when they sent this, I wrote back and said, yes, but do you have capacity this spring, or is it on certain dates only, or do we need to wait till summer or fall? And they said the availability is fairly open for spring, so we'd work on shared dates, but if we were able to identify some dates that worked well, this one, we shouldn't do it on a monthly meeting, but have a work session instead that is the training. And anyway.
You have like a amount of time?
Yeah. Yes, so, sorry, I'm not on there. Do you have to go off there, or can I just take over? I feel like I'm pushing those buttons, so it's, yeah, so there's some different options in here, but core training sessions in the 2 to 3 hour range. And then there's some additional opportunities that they offer, based
This is
on
what you sent us?
directions from their, yep, yeah, I sent, and there's actually 2 other flyers in here, so it's easier. It wasn't an easy thing to just like copy and paste and put into a email or anything, so I think looking through, my recommendation is this core training session. Just to all, that's the basic roles that everybody, that we do, and then from there, I think conversations about, do we wanna move into any of these areas, following that, but I know, so the, pricing, that's a good question.
Is it in
I
there?
got this fairly recently, I don't know.
Okay. That's okay, we can, this is just
Yeah,
our.
so we have the right, this is who, actually a couple of them emailed me back because the policy people like tagged them all. I think, yeah,
I mean, we have budgeted funds for board training, so I
Yeah.
think it would be, we should.
and a lot of
We
districts
should
do
decide
this.
what we wanna do
Yeah.
and then like make sure that we
That's
have,
the policy
we have enough
people
for it,
here
yeah, and
do
if we need to pare back, we can.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much. I think it's gonna be worth it.
And we're OSBA members, it
Right.
may even be included, so,
It should be.
in there, yeah. Let me write that back, I'll send that tonight.
Okay.
In a few minutes, and then, I'll get the so, do you want me to, can I just ask about the main 2 to 3 hour
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll get that price, yep.
Okay, great.
And then we can vote on it next, like share that information, come back, even figuring out dates, I think can happen at the next meeting and or in conversations before that, so we nail it down there.
Great.
Okay.
Siuslaw Charter School, any more update on that?
I, got an email from one of the, board people on that, and I emailed it all to you tonight.
Oh,
Just
okay.
kind of an update on what's going on and pretty detailed, so.
Cool.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's in your emails.
okay, great. Thanks very much.
Which board member?
Jody.
Oh,
Okay, so let's see, the inclusivity,
It's probably included in that, but the only thing I do know is that they have the head of schools position posted online. Somebody told me that in passing, so that's the only news. I just remembered I had some information.
Okay. Any more on that? We can move to inclusivity. For some of those of you who maybe don't know what's going on here, we had, and how inclusivity got to be a line item on our agenda. It was questioned by some community members, so the board discussed it at a meeting. We discussed it at another meeting. And then last month we had a group of, maybe many of you were, I think many of you were here for that meeting. We devoted more than an hour to public comment, and it was clear that we needed to go further. So the plan tonight is for the board to conduct a discussion and to try to design what the listening session is going to look like. Listening session or sessions, we're not sure, but our board meetings are for conducting business. As you see, here it is almost 7:30, and we have business to conduct that we can only do in public session once a month. That's how often we meet. So this is something that is going to be a separate meeting, and we're going to talk about it here. Tonight is not a time where we're going to be engaging back and forth here. We're going to be talking with one another to try to figure out how we're going to go to the next level. That's clear to the board members? Everybody understands this? That's what we're doing. So I think
I know that we did have some public comment.
yeah, that's
Like, at the end of
that's the
Different agenda.
yeah, that's
Yeah, good point.
item number 10, yeah.
Right.
yes. So it's great that y'all are here. We appreciate your interest in caring. That's why we're all here. So let's start this out with Sue. I think we have some ideas, or you have been talking with other people outside of the district about what's possible.
So the various ideas about listening session, it can be, they get posted in different ways. Sometimes it looks like this and people kind of take turns talking and sharing, and there's a back and forth with the board. One of the ideas that was presented was a kind of sign up for those interested in participating, and then taking those names kind of randomly and doing however many small sessions where there can be a conversation with the board and 8 to 10 people from that list, and getting everybody on that list into a session. The logistics and the numbers of that can be decided, but of all the forms of listening session, especially with a topic where there's so many connections and interests and nuanced components, I think those smaller listening sessions with a neutral facilitator would help bring that information in and truly make sure everybody has a chance to be heard versus a larger session. So I'll share that as the idea that landed well. And then connected to that in terms of a third party, not third party, but like neutral facilitator. And somebody, when I say neutral, it's more just a skilled facilitator who leads those kind of discussions and isn't one of us sitting at this table and isn't one of the people trying to sign up and be part of that. I was hoping for, somebody had recommended 90 by 30 as an organization that's active in rural communities. And I was hoping they would be able to do it and have the capacity. I did hear back I actually read this email really recently, that Jeff Todall is the head of that, and we've been connecting. He's happy to help connect and talk through anything, but he doesn't have the capacity and the organization doesn't. He mentioned a couple facilitators. I am friends with one of them, but the other two, one I've never heard of. One I am familiar with their work in the community as a health. They've worked in actually a number of areas, but most recently through I think Lane County Public Health work. I might even be making that up. And is a very strong facilitator. And then one of them I'm too good of friends with to say we're gonna pick them. So I'm crossing them off the list. So and if people have other names of facilitators they'd recommend, I'm happy to keep reaching out to folks. And
so the options are small groups or a full community meeting.
yeah,
Or other things.
Or-
yeah, there
Like,
might, it
whatever
doesn't
they
all
come
have
up
to come
with,
from me. I'm
you
just
know?
sharing the ideas that kind of have been.
Are there other ideas?
generated, yeah.
Do board members have other ideas besides those two? Because those are the only two I've heard.
Yeah. Otherwise it'd be like, write up stuff and then it's not the same approach, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the small groups, we'd want some reporting out mechanism where each group, somebody took notes and then that was shared out, with everybody, so that everyone, that could be a common conversation, from those small groups. But I can't think of another good method other than sort of small group or large everything.
I forgot one, so there's the small and big. There's also, just thinking through and all of this works, for me, is it the whole board in every, if we go small, is it the whole board in every session?
Didn't we all agree that we thought that was the best?
Okay, so that whole board, yes, for each one. And I like that. I want to name that means that it needs to be a public meeting. So anytime I'll just so everybody understands, anytime all 5 board members or actually anytime more than 2 board members are together for a business, it needs to be a scheduled public meeting, which means it needs to be streamed. So those meetings, while small and more opportunity to talk, I just want people to know it's also going to be recorded and streamed. So,
That seems like a good way of sharing out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the transparency that we're trying to honor.
Yeah, that would help, because I was a little worried about like the reporting out from small groups, that can get construed as well. So if they're all streamed, then everybody has access to everything that was said.
Cause that was, that was my concern, cause I was like, I felt like we really more had to do a large meeting, cause I wanted it to be fair to everyone, their ears as well as our ears. So, I mean, if, I'm not necessarily still a fan of the smaller meetings, but if that works better, knowing that they can have full access to hear it just as we heard.
If it is a longer session, it could be something where we start out as a full group and then break out into smaller groups and come back together too, where it's a little bit more, that would require more facilitators. And it would, but you could
hard to
get,
stream.
it would be, well, yes, but in the small groups, like breakout sessions, it probably would not be all
But
five
it is
of us
more
in
of
that
a
breakout
listening session, right?
It
Not a
is.
discussion
Yeah.
session.
So in those breakouts, it could be, a mix of board and community members and potentially more facilitators that could help through those, and then coming back together. That could be another option.
Well, but I
It's a
think
little
at the
bit
same time, then our ears aren't hearing. We don't have access to hear.
Yeah, I was just
Everything.
throwing options out,
Yeah.
asking for different ways to do it. Since I've had some successful meetings that way.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's called a listening session because we're listening. It's not back and forth. Is that what we're trying to design here? Or is it back and forth, or is it like a conversation? I mean, if you're talking about conversation, way harder with a big group for sure. But if you're talking about us listening, then it's just that.
So what happens after the listening? Then is it, then we come back and decide what's gonna happen, and then how are people involved in that?
Well, this is how it appears to me. We would come back as a board and make decisions about how we're gonna go forward, and then that gets conveyed to the public. I would imagine that it's like
that would be in a public meeting.
it'd be a public meeting, but it's also, I would hope that we'd have like a document that says this is what has come out of this, a statement from the board that says this is how we proceed. And then we take it off the agenda, and then we move forward. That's how I would like to see it, because this is very much an issue, and with agendas, you try to take your issues and
Do
take
something
them,
about it.
do something about them, turn it into action, and then move forward.
Well, fine, yeah.
Yeah. We just have to design the best forum so that everybody, feels heard, and we can make our decisions based on input from our community.
So then is everyone in agreement that it is a listening? We make notes of everything, we obviously would have it documented in various ways, and it's not a conversation time. Or how do you, because if you want the conversation time, it has to be smaller meetings.
Right, yeah. I think that there should be some room for like answering actual factual questions too, I don't know, because there are questions about there will be questions that came up last time and that come up, that about what we do or whatever it is. So I don't know. I think
You don't want it to be
It would be-
completely closed off,
Yeah, it'd be
right?
really hard to have just all the community come out and just talk and then not have any gauge on how
Yeah,
we're
how to
receiving
respond.
that or how we're responding. And if they ask a question, it's just like, I don't know, write it down, we'll get back to you, no.
Yeah.
So it does need to be, there has to be some conversation. Because there's a listening session, it's kind of a listening and understanding session, right? There's disconnect and confusion and like why we do the things that we do or why we've decided to do the things this way and if they should change, when they should change, how they should change. That's gonna require dialogue back and forth.
I agree.
Which makes me think that maybe a bigger meeting is a better forum, because then we have our superintendent and we can answer questions all in this full community gathered space. Otherwise, how many listening sessions are we talking about if we do small ones?
it depends on how many people sign up. I mean, that's the hard part of deciding right now. Like,
And
Is
that
it-
could
Then we
be,
can't, maybe we're not deciding right
Is
now.
it, is it
exactly.
20, 30? If it's 20, 30 people, I think that's about 3 listening sessions. If it's 90
Right.
people, that's more. Right? I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, then it becomes like, okay, is it just like by various evenings? Is it an all-day thing, which that doesn't allow for them necessarily to come? I mean, we all can free our schedule every once in a while to take a day to do that, but not everyone else can do that. I know even evenings, my schedule's tight for the next 2 months, so, it does make it tough. That's why I was kind of like, I do like the larger meeting, however it's facilitated.
I'm torn. I think
Yeah.
there's pros and cons
Yeah.
to both, to either approach. I like smaller groups because to me that allows for like a deeper dialogue, a better understanding and deeper dialogue. But I think it would depend on the number of people signed up because we can only, like, you know, that a deeper dialogue also requires time. So like each listening session, we had 3, we could devote enough time to each one. But if we had 9,
Could we do like a large and then let's not like a few small, we're gonna gauge on, I mean, not like in the same night, but like have a large one and then gauge from that and then have a sign up sheet and say, and now
We
we're
could
gonna do
also-
small ones, or.
we could also just like pre-schedule and offer
I was
some time.
thinking.
So like we could have one during a weekday, have one during the
Yeah.
weekend, have one in an evening, and the people who are able to be at whichever one can sign up for those. And then we'll have to see how many that is. If there are, you know,
Yeah.
90 people that sign up for Wednesday evening, we might like, okay, we're gonna have to do a couple of
And maybe
these.
that's what I was thinking,
But-
we throw out possible, you know,
Yeah.
these
Like
3,
the,
like
yeah,
meeting
like
dates.
we're gonna do these 3
we see how they
listening.
fill up.
We have these 3 dates and these timeframes for the
That's
listening
a good
sessions, sign
idea.
up for the one that you want. If it's an auto registration, we'll know who's gonna be there.
And if we have to change a room or a venue because of it, then
Yeah.
we do.
I like
Yeah.
that because I think it provides.
It's like a registration.
Well, yeah, but it provides flexibility for people who can't make it, you know, like for the options.
Well, you might, like Mary said, well, kind of combination with a listening session, you might do one big one that's just listening, saying, okay, what is the community seeing as an issue? And see if there's separate issues that need to be addressed, and then break into your smaller discussion groups with
Around
those
those issues.
particular things, instead of, you know, figure out what are the,
Then we'd obviously come back together and discuss, if that was a thing, discuss with those smaller groups.
If we have folks sign up, we could embed some of that questioning in there, like what are you hoping to get out of this, or what are you hoping to bring to the listening session? And then if we have that ahead of time, we can see, okay, there's clearly a few avenues of dialogue that need to happen here as well. So you could suss that out a little bit ahead of time.
Can I ask a clarifying question? If it's a public meeting on that night, if you don't sign up but you show up, are you a participant? Or do you have a voice? Are you listening? What's the role? So say 20 people show up for this night, we kind of planned for that, and then 10 more people
Did 20 people sign up?
come in. Say it again.
Did the 20 people sign up?
And, yeah, but so like the 10 who show up, are they just listeners or
I don't know,
do
it's
they have
Mapleton, I have a hard
I know,
time with
that's
that.
the-
20 people signed up and 30 people showed up, all are welcome. I
Okay,
mean,
so, but we kind of gauge the numbers and sign
yeah,
that
I mean,
too.
we might have to, yeah.
I just want to make sure it's transparent for everyone.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want
do you
to
have
have that, like, are you on this list, and if not, you have to be quiet, and you are, so you can talk. Yeah, I'm not about that.
I think what's really helpful, just encouraging the RSVP, because it helps us plan a meaningful session. And so like the more we can get people to know that and fill up, yeah.
We can say registration required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign up required. Bring your spouse, bring your kids.
So how do we come about the days? Do we throw any out now? Do we have to wait and go through emails?
I think you can look at our calendar and suggest some dates.
Yeah.
That works with other school activities.
Right,
So that would
exactly.
have to be first.
But I think it really is incumbent upon the board to be at all of the meetings.
Right.
And the suit.
So, okay, so just so I know exactly what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to land on are 3 dates that all of us can be there.
Preferably one on a weekday, so maybe Friday, because Fridays are a little bit chiller here.
Yeah.
Something on the weekend, and then something in the evening.
Fridays totally aren't good for me at all.
Right, I mean, the problem is like we're gonna.
We don't have
run
to do
into
the listening
conflicts
session
like
here, we just have to
that.
have you available. So I don't know, like, what day of the week that would be easiest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
she's
can
gonna
make
put
things
them
work,
out.
but it's-
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Go out of
And
town.
then we'll see what works. And maybe we only need 2 listening sessions.
Right.
Maybe a weekday and a weekend. Yeah.
Right.
And then what are you all thinking for length of time?
I think you definitely feel like a 2-hour
Have
window.
to cap it, because we're at some.
I don't know if you're, I mean, if we say 2 to, I don't know what the max.
Yeah, it's over 2 hours, we're gonna need catering, so. I'm gonna require food.
I'll work on that part.
Okay.
I mean, 2
Um,
hours is generally considered like where you do your best thinking, and after 2 hours, people start.
Fell asleep during the movie.
Yeah.
I never make it through.
And then it's hard to articulate.
But,
I like a 2-hour window, that's great.
and then in that time, like, and maybe we are still figuring out these details, but is it like, each person is, sharing something first? Or do we wanna get a facilitator to facilitate that and then?
Well, yeah, because you don't want to end up with, if we are conversing, now you've reached 1.5 hours in and you still have like 5 or 6 people that didn't get to talk yet.
Yeah, so, okay, so seek a facilitator for that time as well, so, okay, so we're landing 2 times weekend.
Does the facilitator is gonna create kind of the parameters, like, do people sign up? Is there a sign-up sheet?
I
feel
feel
like
like
we
we
get to
probably.
I think
We get
we're
to
probably
decide.
the logistics and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, I think the facilitator is like,
Just
run
gonna
an
hold
effective,
the
and
schedule.
run an effective listening session and what are the kind of ground norms and expectations in that time, and kind of helping hold to them, yeah. And if any of you have, or I'll say it to everybody, if anybody has a skilled facilitator in mind, email me and I need someone, so.
It seems like a sign-up sheet would be kind of the best way to go, rather than popcorn, people raising their hand.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they should, but like Mary said, if that, I walked in that night because it ended up I was free.
No, I mean sign
At
up
the
when you get
meeting,
there.
so that we
Oh,
know
if you're
who's
gonna
go-
talk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we know who's talking in what order, so that there's some.
Yeah.
Sure. I think the facilitator would help design that part of the meeting, like they
Okay.
would suggest those kinds of things, I think. Because that's
Okay.
part of facilitating is the design of the meeting.
Right, that's what I.
Yeah, I know, I didn't understand, well, you said sign up, so we had talked about sign ups to come to the meeting.
Oh,
yeah,
So I was
yeah, that's
confused.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like we're in agreement that we're gonna have, and I guess it doesn't really matter the size. We're just gonna have
Looking for
these
these 2 dates.
2 dates.
Yeah, if we can find a third.
I mean, if so many people register, that's a huge number, then you can say, okay, we've got a lot of people, we need to look at another day and time to add. And so we can pivot at that point.
And then, so identify dates, kind of find a facilitator or facilitators, depending on their availability. And, once we get those dates, are we good if, then it's mass shared out to the community
Thanks,
to
that's
say,
fair.
sign up for these, we don't need to wait for another. Okay, just making sure, yeah.
Okay, anything else on this item? We good? Okay.
Something later.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there will be more chance to comment.
Yeah, no, I'm just
sure.
thinking like there's, I'm sure of like some big category of like, oh, we didn't talk about, but I can't think of anything more now, so.
Okay. So we have public comment on items not on the agenda, and I think that's you, Tyler.
I don't know if I should wait till your big group meeting to.
That's that's really up to you, because that is what this is about. And if you feel like you wanna, you have the floor because you did sign up, but if you're feeling like you wanna wait until the date of that, particular meeting, then
It's fine too.
that's fine too.
I guess I'll state my opinion,
Okay.
but it's not as hot-blooded as it was because you guys are really too nice, so. Where do you want me to stand? Just right here?
You're good, wherever you're comfortable.
So, do you want me to state my name and address and all that stuff I saw?
You can state your name, I don't think you need your address.
Tyler Smith, I have some nieces and nephews that go to this school. I'm from Florence, but I've been wanting to move here for a long time. I like the school because I like the small town. I kind of gave up on Florence. Kids go homeschool now just because of the stuff that goes on in the school over there, and I don't like it. I was just cruising through the radio and I heard what was popping up on today about how should I say it, the gender identification for the third graders or up down to third teachers. Let me quote what I say. Sorry. I heard and read about the so-called misled news that the teachers were being asked and children with their gender. Well, and I don't mean to use really nice, lady. I don't take it wrong, but I've quoted what you told the Coastal News. You say that's not the case. There's a fitness standard on one piece of paper that are for the boys, and there's one fitness standard on the other piece of paper that are for the girls. The teachers, like many other teachers who have used inclusive language, said if you identify as a boy, grab that paper, and if you identify as a girl, grab that paper. And they moved on to the fitness testing. Now, that's the same thing as asking a kid what gender you want to identify as. If you can look, kids can't make a decision on that. They don't know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. Hell, I don't even know what I want to do for my life. You're biologically a boy and a girl. There ain't no around it. Just like I'm Caucasian, my wife's Hispanic. That's just the name of the game. That's how the cards are dealt. And it's getting pushed down a wrong way. You guys are really tight-knit community, I can tell. It's bad in Eugene, or bad in Portland, or Florence, but I came from Portland. It's worse up there. And it's worse in bigger cities you go. I like the small towns. I like this community, but this state's not the state it was when I was a little kid. It's like how California is. It's coming up here and migrating up here. I don't like it, so I'm gonna move if it happens. But I figured I'd address that because I got my nieces and nephews and I do love them. So I just don't want that to happen. Because kids are easily swayed by role models they're looking for, because a lot of this stems from parents that aren't there for their kids. They're not. The parents are either working too hard, or a lot of parents just don't want to spend time with their kids and educate them and just be a role model for them. And they're looking for a teacher or anyone, but there's good people, but there's bad people out there that can sway them and twist it in the wrong direction. I just don't want that to happen. So you're really nice. So don't take.
You don't have. Yeah, I promise you. I don't take
that's
any
all I was
offense.
saying.
Can I acknowledge?
I was
that?
hot-blooded, but then I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, I just want to say you're really nice too. And that's the thing. So are so many people in our community, and there's a difference of opinion right here. And this is how we talk. And that's where we're gonna listen and do that. Yeah, and
I don't know if you have them in your bathroom here, but why does the boys need tampons in their bathroom?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know if you have it here.
Can you bring that question back to the listening session? Because that's
sure.
Like when I said earlier, there's
I didn't know where.
Yeah, there's all these offshoot related topics, and one of my questions when I talked to board members after the last one, when we said there's a listening session, I was like, yeah, but about what? And because there were so many topics, and that's the complexity of this conversation. Yeah, that's the word I want. Yeah, and so at that last question, I think I don't want to open up the meeting for a response there, but I think that's a perfect question to bring to a listening session. And Thank you for being, thank you for saying I'm nice. We can be nice together and we can
Right.
talk about
Right on.
hard things. And I think that's the goal of all of this. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, Tyler. It's clear you care.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think I see the most out of this whole issue-based conversation is that everybody is passionately caring about our kids. We may have different opinions about what we perceive as is correct behavior or correct teaching or discussion, but we care about the kids. And oftentimes I think to myself, we have more in common than we have that separates us. I mean, we have the thing, so that is, we love Mapleton. We're all very passionate about this community. I really want to remember that we have more in common than that separates us.
And we had a emailed comment also, Shannon Ross, I assume that's how you say first name. Okay. I don't know what you said, but whatever. I would like the district to know that I support the board's decision to adopt gender diverse language as recommended by current law and the necessary instruction to ensure inclusivity for all students regardless of their gender identification. I do hope the district can provide the necessary understanding to help those who may not understand why this is in the curriculum. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't attend the meeting. And there's a form online in the event that you're not able to attend meetings where you can submit comments. So
yeah.
I did pass out at the beginning. I don't know if other people came in since then, but put together like how to participate in board meetings. It's got links for how to share comments if you don't want to, if you can't attend the meeting and or I've talked to a couple of you in this room that are like, I'm not a public speaker. There's no way I'm standing up there. Like we can read it into the record for you. And there's also opportunity to stand and be heard. And all of those things are like exactly how you participate in a board meeting. It's when it's not related to an agenda item, it comes at the end. When it's about an agenda item, you can talk at the beginning and leave. Sorry. And hopefully you liked I don't know, was it okay? It's businessy, but hopefully you learned a lot about what we're up to. And I value you all being here. So,
yeah.
But if you have and then what I sent out went through Parent Square to everybody who's connected to a kid in our district, but you may not get it if you're not. And so we'll take that, and in the board drop down on our website, that whole board information will be a spot there as written that I passed out. There's a couple more copies somewhere around here. And then linked in that is the policy BDDH, I think. And you can see kind of the rules of how a board meeting runs and those kind of things. And you felt it tonight, but you can share that with other people if they have questions. So.
And since you sent it out on Parent Square, it's on the homepage of the website.
Except I didn't see it this morning, so something's weird.
It's supposed to be on the website too.
Yeah.
So those of us who aren't on Parent Square, you can check our website.
Yeah.
And you were right, from memory, Sue, it is BDDH.
Just don't ask me any other one right now. That was just the last one I saw. So.
Okay. Let's see. Comments from the board. I think we're at that part.
I did have one.
All right.
Partially because I was listening on the phone in the beginning, and we've just brought it up a whole bunch. I know you touched on the website issue. It definitely is like, if you're passionate about state testing, I would like to be passionate about the website because I need it.
Speak on it, girl. It is
And I know that I love that the kid involvement of generating all the things and broadcasting it out on there, and I think that's awesome. And I know at my school a couple years ago, we're a small school, we don't have a ton of money at all. But you gotta give it up sometimes and just do it, because it takes a weight off. And you can still be highly, highly involved. We touch and mess with ours all the time. And you can run banners and there's active videos and it just looks so cool and it's way more inviting. And it's not so cumbersome and generic-y black and white and hard to click around. So I would love if we would really dive into like finding someone who, will have to pay for it, get it going, and then it can be completely active from the kids, a couple of the teachers who are working with them, and you two, all the rights to go and change and update everything, and it just takes a weight off.
Yeah.
We're all doing a ton of things, and you guys are all doing a ton of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a really good way to have the kids be involved in it too, but with someone else just getting the platform up and going, prettying it up, making it more user-friendly, making them want to go look at it.
And yeah, I did, just in case you didn't hear it, listening in, I did say it's a summer project for the full, like, lift.
I did, I heard all that part, but what I wasn't hearing is that we were like really finding someone to like
and
get us there.
The
Like,
someone piece, I think often, there's a lot, like, I've seen y'all's, website, Andrea works for a local charter, so, website is beautiful. I've looked at quite a few school districts across the county and state, and trying to scroll down to the bottom to see who made it. And so that'll be, when I say it's a summer thing, so a lot of that is the
actual, like,
finding who's building this. Yeah.
and that's because I heard you saying like it was a summer project and all the things, but I was just like, I just wasn't, like I was like still hearing like teachers or people here and the kids, and I was like, okay, but they need someone to just lay it down and give them some guidance, and then they can put all the fun stuff in there.
I had one comment that I heard from a community member on the way in, and I can't believe I didn't notice this, but our flag in front of the high school is disgusting, and it's torn, and it's ripped, and it's not big enough. So we need a new one. It needs to be prettier, it needs to be bigger.
Pretty
big,
new, but
big.
not pretty big. I'll get on that.
I don't know if you saw it. I was like, oh, this is very sad.
It's one of those things that you walk by it every day.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, we need a beautiful American flag on that. And the one that we have is a little small.
Okay.
I didn't notice it.
I'm sending Randy a text right now to start on that.
Thanks.
That's how it's supposed to be.
I had just one follow-up to the radio station. Remember I've asked about the radio station a few times? And what is our relationship with the radio station? Because we used to have students that were like interns at the radio station. Then we had to be...
And there's 2 radio stations in town. The answer is, well, so I'm just gonna acknowledge there's 2 radio stations.
There are 2, that's true.
Coast Radio, I think that's where you quoted me, right? It had a community member reach out and share some information. Bob Sneddon called me and said, can you call me? It was funny, like, sometimes I don't know if I'm live or not. So one time I showed up, thought I was just doing a conversation, and he's like, all right, ready. And I was like, oh, we're live, okay. And so then I called and he's like, all right, I'm gonna hit record. And I was like, am I live? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay, good. So I was like, can you read that to me one more time so I know what I'm responding to? And I don't always know that it went, sometimes I do that and never hear anything else about it. And so it's great somebody listens. And then the other one is a community radio station. Right. I should know the letters and I don't.
KXCR.
Thank you. And we have, I might cheat for a second. Courtney, did we land a meeting with them next week or we're working on it?
I think the 26th.
Okay, so I think next week on the 26th, there's this exciting potential. I have no clue where it will go, but we have a building. They need, or they have an interest in being able to broadcast upriver, and they have limited capacity right now. And so there's a meeting on the 26th to even talk about the potential of what would it look like to have an antenna out here that can help broadcast to the upriver community. So stay tuned.
So that's the radio station that we used to be in partnership with kids.
Yeah,
Kids would
okay.
go to that community radio station.
Okay. So that's exciting. We don't have that right now, but my hope is, I mean, this was I was at a dinner next to somebody who ended up being on the board, or she's I don't know, I think she's a board member, and just got talking about ideas, and she followed up and was like, hey, I reached out and there's like major interest in that, do you wanna meet, and put me in contact, so that's a fairly new, that's a fairly new development, but I hope in that meeting we're able to say like, what are the other potentials for partnership, so.
Sure. And we don't know, I mean, there may
Well-timed
be somebody in this school who that would be the one hook,
Well,
you know, or two people.
yeah, what I will
You never
say
know.
is the media work and the technology, the stuff we talked about buying includes equipment for podcasting, for broadcasting,
Yeah.
all those things, and so
Yeah.
it's a natural connection to, one of the things we talk about a lot is an authentic audience for your work, and so when Ramil was sharing all the different projects happening, those aren't like a project on a piece of cardboard for a presentation to your teacher, those are like real legit things happening on our campus for our community, and so this, even with the media type work that we're developing, the goal is that it's not just for a student newspaper. Student newspapers are great, nothing against them, but if we can actually become the voice of the community, or a space for the voice of the community, now it becomes more and more authentic, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else from the board? Hearing nothing, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? We're out. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate that you came. I appreciate it.
I think they're really good.
I didn't know. I just let you can make sure.
I was wondering if I could